Hey guys, welcome to Multidimensional. I'm Manoj. In this video, I'm going to start a new series on Kubernetes, also known as KTS. If you are new to Kubernetes, don't worry. You will learn everything step by step in a simple way. Before we dive into Kubernetes, it's important to understand Docker and container first. So, if you are a beginner hearing about Docker and container for the first time, don't worry. In this video, you will learn what they are and how they are work. So, let's begin our journey into Kubernetes together.
Let's talk about Docker in simple way. When you create an app, it needs some extra things to run like code libraries, tools and settings. If you move that app to another computer, it may not work. If those things are missing, this is a common problem. But Docker solves it. Docker takes your app and everything it needs and put it all into one simple bundle. This bundle is called a container.
Now, let's talk about what a container actually is. A container is a just lightweight package that holds your app and everything it needs to run. But here's the cool part. Unlike a virtual machine, it doesn't bring its own operating system. Instead, it uses the host operating system, but still keeps your app separate and safe. That makes it super fast and efficient. And yes, you can run many containers on the same system without them interfering with each other. So, containers are clean, quick, and portable. And that's why they have become so popular in the tech world. It may sound simple, but Little Container has changed the way we build and run apps. And once you start using it, you will see why. That makes it super fast and efficient. And yes, you can run many containers on the same system without them interfering with each other. So, containers are clean, quick, and portable, and that's why they have become so popular in the tech world. It may sound simple, but this little container has changed the way we build and run apps. And once you start using it, you will see why. So, that's how Docker and containers help us build and run apps anywhere in a simple, consistent way. Before we get into Kubernetes, we already know what Docker and containers are, right? Great. They help us package and run apps easily. But here's the thing, when we start working with multiple containers, things can get tricky. That's exactly why Kubernetes exists, to handle all that complexity for us. So, if you are ready, let's jump into Kubernetes and see how it all works step by step. So, what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open source platform. It uses to manage containers automatically. It controls where containers run, when they start or stop, and makes sure everything stays healthy. So, what was the problem before Kubernetes? Before Kubernetes, managing containers was a manual job. People had to start, stop, and monitor containers by themselves. As our app grows bigger, this becomes slow and full of errors. So, how did we solve those problems? Simple. We started using Kubernetes. Why do we use Kubernetes? It automates container management, it makes scaling, restarting, and traffic handling much easier. This saves times, reduce mistakes. That's why developers love to use this tool. So far now that we know what Kubernetes is, let's take it a step further and understand how it actually works behind the scenes. To do that, I am going to explain the Kubernetes architecture diagram. So, don't worry, I will keep it simple and easy to follow. Okay, let's understand what's really going on this diagram. This is the basic architecture of Kubernetes, a system used to manage apps in containers. On the left side, you see control plane, which is known as master node. Actually, this is the brain of Kubernetes. It doesn't run the app directly, it manages everything. Okay, let's go component. Okay, let's go component by component. What is API server? API server is entry point of Kubernetes because it's like a reception desk. Every command we use goes through the API server first, and this request hits the API server and then it tells others what to do. So, what is scheduler? Scheduler is the decision maker. To decide which worker node should run your app, it looks at CPU memory, app requirements, and choose the best spot by place your app. And what is control manager? Control manager is a watcher or fixer. It keeps checking if things are as expected. If something crashes or goes down, this component will bring it back up. And finally, what is etcd? It is a database of Kubernetes. to store everything, cluster state, configuration and secrets. Example, if a node crashes and restart, etcd helps the Kubernetes remember what was running. Okay, now let's move to the right side of the diagram. The worker nodes, these are the machines that actually run your apps. In worker nodes, we have three components, which is kubeproxy, kubelet, and pods. So, what is kubelet? Kubelet is a worker supervisor. It receives instructions from the control plane and makes sure the pod is running. And what is kubeproxy? It is a network helper, which means to allow pods to talk to each other across nodes. Like if your app is on one pod and needs to talk the database in another pod, kubeproxy makes it happen. And what is pod? One pod can have one or more containers. Kubernetes always manages app inside the pods. If you look at the bottom right box in the image, it shows a pod running in your app. So, if an user gives a command to Kubernetes, for example, run my app, this request goes to the API server. Then, API server checks the request. Is it valid or not? If it's valid, it sends to the scheduler. Here, scheduler looks at the missions, which means worker nodes, and decides which one has space, which one is ready. Then, it chooses the best worker node to place your app. Now, the control manager starts watching everything. It makes sure your app starts correctly if it crashes or it restarts it. If something goes wrong, it fixes it. Now, etcd is a like notebook for Kubernetes. It stores what apps are running, where they are running, what configuration they need. So, if Kubernetes restart or crashes, etcd helps it remember everything. So, if an user gives a command to Kubernetes, for example, run my app, this request goes to the API server. Then, API server checks the request, is it valid or not? If it's valid, it sends to the scheduler. Here, scheduler looks at the missions, which means worker nodes, and decides which one has space, which one is ready. Then, it chooses the best worker node to place your app. Now, the control manager starts watching everything. It makes sure your app starts correctly if it crashes or it restarts it. If something goes wrong, it fixes it. Now, etcd is a like notebook for Kubernetes. It stores what apps are running, where they are running, what configuration they need. So, if Kubernetes restart or crashes, etcd helps it remember everything. Now, we can see how does a worker node run your app in Kubernetes. So, the master node choose a worker node to run your app. It sends a message to the kubelet on that worker node. Please start this app here. So, this kubelet helps the program that runs on every worker node. Okay, the kubelet gets the instructions from the control plane. It then asks the system, like Docker, please start this app. It puts the app inside something called a pod. Think like a pod is small box with everything the app needs. Now, the app starts running inside the pod, which means it's up and live and ready to do its job. Think of the pod like a house and your app is living inside it. So, kubeproxy is a helper on the worker node. It's like a traffic manager from your app. So, it helps your app talk to other apps, be reached from the internet, connect to the database or service. So, why it's important? Without kubeproxy, your app could be cut off. It couldn't send or receive messages. Kubeproxy makes sure your app can talk, listen. So, kubelet doesn't stop there. It keeps watching your app to make sure it's running fine. It tells, is the app still healthy or it's still working? It keeps sending updates back to the control plane. If something breaks, Kubernetes steps in and fix it automatically. So now your app is up and running safely inside a pod on a worker node. It's healthy, connected to the network, and fully managed by Kubernetes. So Kubernetes does all the heavy lifting, like starts your app, watches it, fix it as something goes wrong. So you can focus on building and Kubernetes take care. And that's how Kubernetes runs your app. All right, we just saw what Kubernetes is and how it works with the control plane, worker nodes, pods, and services. Before we install Kubernetes, we need to understand where it runs using virtual machine, Zen server, and Zen center. In the next video, I will explain what they are and why we need them for Kubernetes. Then we will start the hands-on part to creating the master and worker nodes step by step. Don't miss it, it's going to be easy and practical. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye bye.